If you're divorcing a narcissist and your case just won't settle, no matter how reasonable your proposal is, no matter how many concessions you've made, no matter how close you think you are, and it keeps dragging on, I want to start by saying this. It's not because you haven't found the right solution. It's because settlement is not their goal. And once you understand that, everything starts to make a lot more sense. I'm Victoria McCooey. I'm a high conflict divorce coach, a divorce mediator, and the creator of She Breaks Free. I work with women every day who are divorcing narcissistic partners, and one of the most confusing parts of the process is watching someone reject outcomes that are objectively fair. So today, I want to explain why narcissists refuse to settle, what's actually driving that behavior, and how to stop letting it control your decisions. Because this is where so many women get stuck. So why is it that women get stuck here? It's because they keep thinking, if I just adjust this, if I just offer a little more, if I just make this easier for him, then it will finally resolve. But it doesn't. And that's because you're solving for fairness and they're operating from something completely different. For a narcissist, divorce is not a problem to be solved. It's a situation to be controlled. Settlement requires compromise, closure, and letting go. And those are three things narcissists struggle with the most. Because settling means they no longer control the process. They no longer control you, and they no longer control the outcome. So instead of moving forward toward resolution, they move toward prolonging. Now, this doesn't always look obvious. Sometimes it looks like rejecting reasonable offers without explanation, agreeing, then changing the terms, dragging out negotiations, or introducing new issues at the last minute. And each time this happens, you feel like you're starting over. And over time, that creates a very specific kind of exhaustion. Decision fatigue, emotional fatigue, financial fatigue. And eventually you start thinking, I just need this to be over. I don't even care anymore. I'll just agree. And that moment is exactly what the narcissist has been working toward. Because when you reach that point, you're negotiating from exhaustion. And I want to share something with you here because this is something I see so clearly now looking back at my own divorce. If I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would give her this exact advice. My divorce lasted 6 years. And during that time, every time he postponed something, every time he refused an offer, every time he moved the goalpost, I felt completely thrown off. I felt frustrated. I felt powerless. I felt like I was being victimized over and over again. And what I didn't realize at the time was how much of my life that was consuming. My mood, my energy, how I showed up for my kids, everything was being filtered through the divorce. I wasn't fully present. I was distracted. I was in my head constantly, and I had no idea it could last that long. If I had known, I would have done something very differently. I would have stopped letting his actions or inactions control my emotional state. I would have focused much more intentionally on my life outside of the divorce. I would have at least acted like it wasn't affecting me, even if internally it still was. Because what I see now is this. By letting the process consume me, I lost 6 years of my life. And that's what I want to help you avoid. Because while you may not be able to control how long the divorce takes, you can control how much of your life it takes from you. And that starts with understanding what's actually happening here. This is not about finding the perfect agreement. It's about recognizing that delay itself is part of the strategy. So let's talk about what not to do. Do not keep adjusting your position to get them to agree. Do not interpret rejection as a signal to give more. Do not assume that reasonableness will be rewarded. And do not tie your emotional well-being to whether or not they cooperate, because all of those things keep you inside their control. So what does the shift look like? You stop negotiating for agreement and start negotiating for outcome. You stop trying to make it work emotionally and start making decisions strategically. You stop focusing on whether they accept and start focusing on whether your position is sound. And something very important happens when you do this. You become more grounded, more consistent, more steady. And when you're steady, you're not thrown off every time they delay. You're not reacting. You're not spiraling. You're not losing days, weeks, or months of your life to something you can't control. You're moving forward, even if the process is slow. So if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Narcissists don't refuse to settle because the terms aren't good enough. They refuse to settle because control is more important to them than resolution. And when you stop trying to create agreement and start anchoring yourself in strategy, you take that control back, not just in the divorce, but in your life. If this is something you're facing and would like some guidance, you can book a breakthrough call with me. There's a link in the description below where you can get right on my calendar. Did you find this information helpful? I hope you did. If you liked this video, will you please give it a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I've linked a couple of other videos here that I think you might also like, so I hope I see you in the next video.